I'm trying different angles, to this new little studio that I set up. So let's do it here, right? This works. I can't turn it though. Anyway, so my top 4 pieces of advice for being successful, because obviously people want to know this kind of stuff. I don't know. Now and then people ask me, but really it's stuff that I see online. I see this trend of all these gurus like Tai Lopez, but now it's just everybody's out there making these videos trying to sell you a course. And it's like, it's not that complicated, and most of the stuff I don't really necessarily agree with what they're talking about. I think the main points, the most important things are always ignored in all of these lists and all of these bullet points and all of this advice. The most important things to be successful and to make money as an entrepreneur, they're always avoided. So I'm going to give you my top 4. So obviously these are not universal. They don't universally apply to everyone. There's always exceptions to the rule. But overall, I would say you are going to increase your chance to be successful a great deal if you at least consider these and realize that they apply to my life specifically very much. But I see a trend as well. I think we can all agree on most of them. Number 1, try to put off dating, marriage, and family as long as you can. That is the number 1 contributor when it comes to success as far as business-wise. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. And a lot of people get offended, like, what's wrong with getting married? What's wrong with partnering with somebody? And I'm just like, I'm not saying there's something wrong with that. I'm just saying you would try. It's best to delay it as long as you can, 30s or 40s. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to dedicate 60, 70 hours a week, to your business. You have to make riskier investments. It's just difficult. Even just a dating situation with someone, you have to invest time into that relationship, even just emotional time. Some now and then you argue, it becomes emotionally draining. It's more work. That's just the way it is. And if you want to be selfish and you want to invest all of your time into trying to build a business, the best thing you do is just focus on that one thing, right? So if you're not dating someone, if you're single, don't see that as a negative thing. See that as a positive, as an opportunity to invest time in yourself and your business and your dreams. Something that most people can't do. I think that's something that holds people back so much, is they get married and settle down with children in their 20s, and then they don't have the time. They don't have, some people still become successful, granted, but overall, it's just hard. You don't have the time or the resources to just completely not pay attention to your significant other and your children. Plus, you can say, oh, you're just going to date and stuff, but things always progress in relationships. You start with dating, then it becomes more serious. The next thing you know, you have a children. 75% of all children in the United States are born, or at least conceived, without planning, right? So there's kind of accidents. Things happen. And as a dude, it was very difficult to control this, right? Because it's women's bodies, yada, yada. I get that. I do. But for a guy, it's just risky. So don't start dating. Don't get married unless you're willing to accept the chance, the possibility, even remote, that you might become a father, that you're going to settle down and you're going to have a family. And don't start it unless you're going to go the whole way. I think a lot of people are too immature and they make impulsive decisions and get in these situations. And then the children suffer because you're not committed to that role as father and husband, right? I don't know. This has been one of the things for me that has given the biggest impact in my life, is that even though when I was in my early 20s, I was a fuck up, and then later in 20s, I kind of got serious. Through that period of time, I managed to never get married, never have children. And so I could dedicate all my time into these ventures. And it has made all the difference. It's something that, now that I'm getting older, things may change, but I still value solitude and focusing on work. And I kind of have a one-track mind, because anything else, it does stress you out a little bit. And that can be negative if you really want to dive into your work. Now, granted, some people, have really good relationships, and like Bill Gates or whatever, but most of these people achieved their grind early in life when they were single. Okay, so I think the best advice for anybody, just postpone it until you're, in your 30s at least, or 40s. Wait till then to start planning. And like I said, when you involve someone else in a relationship, sometimes you don't have the say of how things go. So it's best to just delay dating and stuff like that altogether. If you're single, just push it back. Because as soon as you start dating, things are going to progress. Even though you didn't plan for something to happen this way, your emotions get caught up and it's over. Also, if you're married, divorces can happen. I mean, they happen frequently enough that we have to talk about it. And one of the things that frustrates me is I get it. Okay, you divorce, you split everything 50-50, right? Retirement accounts, everything. The problem is that if you're an entrepreneur, it takes you a lifetime to first learn the skills, apply them, and build a company. Establish yourself as a net worth, your savings account, your retirement, all these investments. This is a life it has taken you to build this. And then you go through a divorce and you lose 50%. You know, it's in a perfect world, when you get married, your significant other brings to the table financially just as much as you do. But this is very, very rarely the case. Most of the time, one is the majority provider. And then when things go south, you lose half. The problem is not that, I don't think, if you get divorced, you should split assets that you acquired when you're together. But nowadays, they split everything. Retirement account. You work 30 years. Well, she's getting half that retirement account. If you were married at least like 10 years, sometimes even less. So that's very frustrating, especially if they have kids. If you have children, that retirement account's getting split, even if you've been married 6 years. So it's just a risk, okay? It's a risk. It's a reality risk that we don't teach people enough, that we don't highlight. This is something that is going to change your life, okay? So if you have aspirations and you want to be successful, you want to be a business person, and you want to dedicate a large amount of your time to pursue these dreams, even if it's acting, producing, whatever, you got to start seeing yourself as an individual and start thinking of yourself as being not in a relationship, and focusing just on your career, at least through your 20s. At least through your 20s. That's the number one piece of advice that I would give anybody, and that is never given. Never given. You think Tai Lopez talks about that? Do you think these experts tell you the truth, that if you want to be successful, it takes time? No, they don't want to tell you that. They want to show you the Lambo, and they will show you the beach house. Figurati. Number 2, build good budgeting skills. Okay, you got to be good with money. Yeah, there's a few people that aren't, because they make so much that they can spend like idiots and still. But those are people that have a high yearly income, like millions of dollars per year. In reality, that is the number one thing. Well, this number 2, as a matter of fact. The number 2 thing is you need to have good budgeting skills. I haven't always had good budgeting skills. I have wasted a lot of money, spent a lot of money frivolously. And it has been a big detriment to my career, to my work, okay? But now I'm a lot more frugal. I like saving money. I like seeing zeros pile up on a bank account. And that brings me joy, rather than spending and buying lavish things. At the same time, I make enough money that I can still afford some spoils, right? But I grinded for a long time to build up that investment account so that I could have a lot of crypto and stuff like that. I don't know. This is very important. A lot of people nowadays don't even know how to budget a check, balance a checkbook. Just can't. They thrive off impulsivity. And you have to change that. So you have to learn to save. You have to enjoy saving money. So you got to change that logic. Start saving, start budgeting, start building accounting skills. Get like the Intuit Mint, the little accounting app. Start keeping track of those things. Number 3, adjust your expectations, okay? You have to play the long game, right? You have to adjust what you expect wealth is going to deliver for you, especially this thing of like partying, drinking, boats, and this lifestyle are not things that are conducive to acquiring wealth, okay? And that's also a big lie that is nowadays in our society. It's always portrayed money, and there's parties and fancy cars, and it's like, to get there though, like, okay, if you become, a music, artist or whatever, start making $10 million a year overnight, yeah, you can live like that. But the vast majority of people have to grind day in and day out for their entire careers before they can enjoy those type of spoils. And even if you are a millionaire, nowadays that's not a lot of money. If you turn around and start living that kind of lifestyle so that you can look cool on Instagram, you're going to have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. My ultimate goal is building more and more wealth. Do I take vacations? Not really. Will I one day enjoy the spoils? Sure. But right now, I just enjoy the process. And that's just one of the things that you have to learn. And also it means that you're going to work and you're going to pursue your goals for the right reasons so that you don't build negative expectations or unreal expectations that then you're going to be disappointed. And that's the truth. I think that the number one thing for me to be an entrepreneur is not having a boss, to live my life the way I want to not have someone over my shoulders, to not have a schedule. But in reality, I work more than if I worked a regular job. Most of the time, I'm more stressed out than if I had an employer that cut me a check every week. So, like I said, these are things that you have to balance in your mind. But I would never go back. The amount of joy I get from this is from living this lifestyle is incredible. So I would never go back. So, there it is. Anyway, and the number 4, did I do 3? Yes, I did 3. Number 4, you got to keep trying even after you fail. They say that winners lose more than losers. They just keep going because they try more often. Everybody's going to lose. Everybody's bad at everything when they start. Okay, everybody. Floyd Mayweather, when he first learned to box, he wasn't good. He wasn't good. It took him a long time practicing before he got good. So it takes a certain level of acumen, of practice. It takes a certain amount of skill level before it even shows that you have talent, right? Talent isn't something, you don't pick up a guitar and you're like, whoa, this guy's a musical genius. No, it takes years of learning to play that instrument, right? Before your talent can shine. So you got to keep this in mind. You need a lot of dedication to become a virtuoso at your craft, to become very good at your craft before that's going to shine through, okay? Same thing, anything, sports, music, anything. This applies universally. So you got to keep that in mind. People give up too soon, even when learning. Like, oh, I'm not good at this, and they quit. I'm like, listen, a chess master didn't become a chess master, by practicing a week. It took him years before it really showed that he had talent for the game. So you got to be more dedicated. Don't give up. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You do these 4 things, and you have a creative mind, you'll become successful, okay? These 4 things, I'm telling you. And you don't have to do each one. If you're already married or whatever, you got to do what you got to do. But I'm saying at the end of the day, it'll give you the highest percentage chance of success. If you delay getting married and having a family, you build good budgeting skills, you adjust your expectations from wealth, okay? And you keep trying even after you fail. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, buy red and sell grand. I'll be making a new video, a Q&A video coming up. Thank you guys always for sticking with me. And to the naysayers and people that, kind of post negativity, I understand. I understand that it can be a frustrating time in the market. And if you want to say mean things, that's fine. I understand. I'm not going to take it personally, but I do take it personally. It is what it is. I hope you guys realize that right now, this year so far, nobody's become a millionaire off trading crypto this year, right? In the past 6 months. It just hasn't happened because everybody's talking about the gains that they got 2017. So it is what it is. Am I still going to talk about picks and still talk about cryptocurrency? Of course. But it's obviously the heat is just not there for it. All right. Thank you guys. Until next time.